Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm pretty excited about this one. Something a bit different from the usual cutting, grinding, welding. I've brought a new vehicle. This video hasn't played out quite how I planned it. I'll explain why later, but I'll introduce you to the new addition to the fleet. It's a 1967 F100, so it's one of the biggest ones. 89,000 original miles on this truck. It was sold new 2 hours away from my place, 2 hours north of my place, in a place called Mount Bryan. And it's been in Burrow, which is 10 minutes down the road from Mount Bryan, its entire life. It's 57 odd years, something like that. I can't think of it at the top of my head. But 2 owners, so it's been on 2 sheep stations out in the country. Last registered in 2008, but this thing's well, it's not clean, but it's OG. This thing is sweet. So let's go have a look at this. So yesterday was supposed to be I was going to do a video on driving out there, seeing the truck, doing some work on it, bringing it home, but we left a little bit late. Ryan, the seller, called me while we were on our way out there and said he was checking some stuff in the engine bay, and he knocked the hose that goes from the manifold to the water pump, and the fitting snapped off inside the block, and he was stressing about that. He was a bit worried, and Barry and I were out at Malala, and we went to a place there, and they sent us out to this place, Shaman's Metal Land. The 8Ks out in the middle of nowhere, just nothing but paddocks and this workshop in the middle of nowhere, and they had these brass fittings, and I'll show you, I'll put in a clip of what we were doing here. So I didn't record as much as I'd like. We were quite hurried. We were sort of rushing to get this thing on the road and home, so the whole plan fell apart on my end, but it was a good day and we got it home. So I'll throw in a couple of clips here, and then we'll go over the truck. Guys. Realised we don't have any headlights, so we're going to drive into Burrow and go to the BP there. They had a bunch of stuff there when we were there earlier. They might have some headlights, it might be just wiring, so we'll get some wires and that, but yeah, Barry's playing with it, having a look, but we'll go in there and see what we can sort out. So we're back home. It's about 9 o'clock at night now, I think. Truck ran pretty much flawlessly. It's got a 2-speed diff, but I don't think it's... I'm not sure if it was in low or high. I haven't quite figured that out yet. But my top speed was 75 kilometers an hour. The little 330 just purred. Just loved it. I was a bit worried about that because the truck's just been cruising around as a farm truck for a long time, so I was worried about sitting for an hour and a half at high RPM. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was good. It's not fast. The driver's window didn't want to go up. I think it dropped off the rail when I tried winding it up at the farm. We had a spot of rain and it was really cold, so I'm wearing a work jacket. But yeah, I'm absolutely stoked with the truck. It's awesome. But tomorrow, I've got the drive and then drop it show at Gawler, which is for airbagged, lowered custom cars. And I really want to take that guy. I really want to take that guy on the back of that guy. So my idea, and I think it's going to work, get this guy out of the way, get that guy on the hoist, get that guy under the hoist, and tow that one on the other one. So I've got a bit of moving around to do. It's a bit later, don't want to make too much noise with the neighbours and everything, but this should go reasonably smoothly. Let's see. I'm so happy right now. I'm not sure I could have planned that any better. The length, the height with the F100 bagged out on the back of the big one. That's I'm not sure I can walk far enough away to get the whole thing in shot. Let's turn this around and have a look. Yesterday was supposed to be I was going to do a video on driving out there, seeing the truck, doing some work on it, bringing it home, but we left a little bit late. Ryan, the seller, called me while we were on our way out there and said he was checking some stuff, just checking stuff in the engine bay, and he knocked the hose that goes from the manifold to the water pump, and the fitting snapped off inside the block, and he was stressing about that. He was a bit worried, and Barry and I were out at Malala, and we went to a place there, and they sent us out to this place, Shaman's Metal Land. About 8 k's out in the middle of nowhere, just nothing but paddocks and this workshop in the middle of nowhere, and they had these brass fittings, and I'll show you, I'll put in a clip of what we were doing here. So I didn't record as much as I'd like. We were quite hurried. We were sort of rushing to get this thing on the road and home, so the whole plan fell apart on my end, but it was a good day and we got it home. So I'll throw in a couple of clips here, and then we'll go over the truck. So this fitting in the manifold, and the other end of that hose in the block here, that's snapped off in the water pump. So Barry's MacGyvered up a couple of brass fittings, and we've pressed them in there with some JB weld. Just replacing it now, and Barry's looking at the seal on the master cylinder for me at the moment as well, for the brake master cylinder. And hopefully that'll be it. We've got there's a few questionable hoses. We'll see how they go and replace them as needed. But yeah, Barry's sorted these fittings out. They've come up nice. So the two fittings that broke in the water pump and the intake manifold for the water pipe, they look like this. They're a Preston steel tube from factory. They get corroded over the years and they snap off. It happens in Cleveland's. It's a thing. We couldn't drill out the piece that was broken off in there, and we knew that was going to be difficult. But the idea we had when Ryan gave us the call was to try and track down a couple of these barbed hose fittings, which is what we picked up from Metalland out by Malala. And I'll quickly show you. I really wish I recorded Barry doing it, but I'll just show you what he did to get around the problem with trying to get these into the block. So this is my current drill press. It's only a little baby one that's clamped to the bench, but Barry cut one or two, I think maybe two barbs off the end of the fitting. This only just fits in my drill press, so I can't turn it on. And then the only file we had on us that had any teeth on it was this little one I took with me, which is actually quite aggressive. And then he essentially spun this up in the drill and filed it down and used the drill press as a lathe. So we had a nice smooth finish on it. So once we had the end of this down to the right diameter, while Barry was doing the second one, I got out the old JB weld and put a fair bit of that on it, hammered it into place, and it went in really snugly inside the thin steel tube that was already stuck in there. And that's held. That's been fine. So yeah, a good hack for young players if you're going out to pick up an old farm truck out in the middle of nowhere. If there's a little bit of gear around, a drill press and a couple of things, you can actually get away with quite a lot. So yeah, that worked out. So how I came into possession of this truck, it's all Jay's fault. Jay from Low Standards, he sent me the link on Messenger a week and a half ago, around about, and he knows I love these old trucks. We've got that in common. We love all things old and cool and different, but we both love old trucks, and he knows I want something like this. So he sent me the link, and I checked it out. Unfortunately, it came up for sale the day before I had to fly interstate. So I messaged Ryan, the seller, said I was interested. He had a couple of other guys that were interested. So I was down the line a little bit, and because I couldn't get out there to have a look because I was away in WA, I was stressing the whole week, knowing there are other people going to have a look at this thing and how good this thing looked in the ad. I was worried it was gone. So the first guy went and had a look at it. He sort of was a bit neither here nor there, I think. The second guy that went to have a look at it, he had a good hard think about it. He went away and then thought about it for a day and then came back, and he said it was too original. He wanted to modify it, put a big diesel in it, do a few things, and he said it was too original to cut up for what he wanted, which was fantastic. That means someone else that really wants an original truck had a chance to get a good truck. So and that's where I came in. I was third on the list, and so Ryan messaged me and said, "Hey Phil, I know you're really keen on this truck. What do you want to do?" And I was still interstate, and I said, "I'll put a deposit on it. I want this truck. I want to get my hands on this truck." So I put a deposit on the truck. A long couple of days left over in WA, and then flew home Thursday night, loaded up to Colorado with a bunch of tools and supplies, and Friday morning grabbed Barry, and then we headed out via the middle place out at Malala to Burra, where the truck's located. So out to Burra, then there was 20 k's of almost single lane dirt rough track to get out to where this was, because it's on a sheep station. Beautiful country. Obviously, yeah, it was fantastic out there, and went and picked this thing up. So brief history on the truck. 89,000 original miles, as I said earlier. It's 2 owners. So it was brought by, I think I'll get this the right way around. So a guy called Bill brought it. I can't pronounce the last name. It's painted on the other side of the chassis. He brought it, then his son Will got it, and then Ryan, who I brought it off, got it off Will. I think that's how it works. But these guys, their stations are next to each other or around each other. They're sort of less than 20 k's from where this thing was sold new. It stayed its whole life there. Last registered in 2008. I was looking through the owner's manual that's still in the glove box for this thing that has all the details in it. In the back it says new tyres 1974, and looking at the tyres, I believe these are still the same ones, but yeah, it's just been on the farm ever since, cruising around hauling sheep, having a relatively easy life in a nice dry climate. So there's minimal rust. There's like a little bit in the bottom of the doors, but the roof's sweet, the cab corners are sweet, the floor's good. It's a really nice cab. It's a lot nicer than this one. But yeah, this thing's good. So for a truck that's lived on farms all its life, these guys have kept really good care of this truck. It's all, the dash is uncut. There's no big radio cutouts. Still got the original stickers for the 2-speed diff shifter. So these things have got a 5-speed gearbox and a split diff, so a high and low ratio. So that essentially gives you 10 gears. But the cab itself, the bottom half of the seat has been retrimmed. This is the factory material that's been redone. It is worn on that side. It's really low on that side and quite uncomfortable, as nice as it looks. Still has the original fuel tank behind the seat. And these were in the glove box. That's the original owner's manual. I won't show too much detail on there because it's got all the chassis numbers and everything, but in the back here, so new tyres at 25,000 miles in 1974. Plugs and points 1981, I think. New points 83 and 86 for an oil change. But remarkably good condition for its age, and again being a farm truck. I'm not sure it says the name of the dealer anywhere in here. And this here, 40% overload on gross vehicle weight allowed, so 14.6 ton. It's GVM, that's the gross vehicle mass. GVM L, so loaded. Truck 14.6 tons. The truck's actually got a 23,000 pound GVM, which is 10.4 tons. So with a 40% overload, this thing's been carrying this thing all loaded up has been 14.6 tons. And the GVML trailer, 12 tons. So gross vehicle combined load, 26.6 tons. So the truck, a trailer, and everything was carrying 26 tons. That poor little 330 cubic inch V8's purring away there, towing it all. But yeah, again, the cab is, so I think a mouse got into the roof lining. Something has been dropped on the roof. There's a fairly large dent on the roof which should be able to be knocked out. But all the factory sun visors. I mean, the door rubbers are shot and everything, but overall this thing is really nice. The windscreens for these, I mean, this is exactly the same cab as this one. The bonnet and cab are the same over the whole range. These windscreens are still available new because they were the same as the dent side trucks. This one's all scratched and hazed, so last night with oncoming traffic it was a bit painful. It looks good on camera, but there's like the really fine scratches all the way through it. This door frame has a bit of a bend in it, so when I close it, it sticks out the top. I think that's from having a mirror on here that hit something, or the door got closed on something, but it's pulled the frame out a little bit. That's doable. I might just get replacement ones of those lights, something similar. And that guard's had a fair knock. Most of that will pop out, but there's going to be a crease there. I'll see what we can do with that, but I want to keep this factory guard, this paint, because I had a quick polish on this last night. It's a bit hard to see. Actually, this side here, you can see it comes up quite nice. It's very smooth, so I've got the chalky paint up here and then this here, so the whole truck should look like that. But because I've done that, I now have to do the entire truck. So while the cabs and the bonnet are the same on the F100 through to the F350s, the noticeable difference on these, besides the wheels, the hubs, the height and everything, are these wider guards. Quite hard to find these days, and these ones are really good. There's no rust, no holes. This one's pretty much immaculate for its age, and of course the big truck has the wider large grille. Now Monday morning, I've got the coupe loaded up, ready to go get its headers and everything done. I'm going to move the truck out. The shed's a mess from the weekend. I washed it in the rain yesterday, so there's a bit of stuff on the floor, and I hastily unpacked from our trip home on Friday, so there's gear everywhere. But I want to get this thing out in the sun. This thing's been really good with its cold starts. I made the mistake of pressure cleaning the engine yesterday without covering anything, and it took a bit of effort to get started after that, so the battery went a little bit flat. I've put it back in. I'm just going to see if it does what it's been doing, because this is pretty cool. So I think it's due for some maintenance. But yeah, this thing is dead cold at the moment. I cleaned it yesterday. How good is that? Let's see if it'll fire up. So Ryan that sold me the truck, I hope you can hear me okay, he sent me a video of doing the same thing. Just cold start, reaching in, a little bit of choke, no gas, turn the key, and she fires up. That's the original 330 from 1967. That's I wish all my cars started like that. That's fantastic. 330 HD V8. I don't have much knowledge on these at all. I've never even heard of them until this truck came along. It is a truck engine. It's based around an FE engine, I believe. Very, very similar. It's got a forged crank, which is basically the same as the FE crank, except being forged, and it has a different snub. Can't really see it down there. It's got a different front on the crank and a different rear on the crank, so nothing from the FE fits on the back of this, the gearbox, flywheel, or anything like that. And it's got a different front on it. A bit hard to see from in here. I haven't seen Repco leads like these for a very, very long time. The radiator hoses are very, very old. I was a bit worried about those splitting on the way home. At first glance, I thought these were heater hoses. There is no heater in this truck, nothing. This is all part of the vacuum brake system, so I am going to replace these. The guys put, Ryan and his dad put a new slave cylinder for the clutch on there. The clutch works really well. The brake master cylinder, that was stuck when we went to pick up the truck, so as mentioned earlier, Barry fixed that for me, gave it a bit of a hone on the bench. I have ordered another one that should be about 3 weeks away from the States. But yeah, I'll renew all these hoses, clean everything up, all the roadworthy stuff. But new belts, those fittings are staying in there quite nicely, which is good. It's got a little 2-barrel Holly on it, bit of an unusual one. And that's a oil bath air filter, which I've never played with before. I've heard of them mentioned before. I know a little bit about them, but a really unusual thing. There's actually oil sitting in the bottom of this thing. It's a bit. A lot of the older guys will know about those, but some of you young guys, that's a bit different. There's plenty of other things. There's a kink in the fuel hose here, which I really wanted to straighten the steel hose out before I left, but I was worried about if that cracks, that hose cracks, the pipe cracks, then I'm stuck. So I thought, it's running, I'm not going to touch it for now. I'll wait till I'm home. So that's on the list, plus a serious degreasing. I think there's a slight leak from the bottom of the radiator, but it got me home alright. It just started leaking the next day. But yeah, this thing, there's a few, like the vacuum system for the brakes. Other than that, this thing under the bonnet is dead factory. Coils original. So for now, my priority with the truck is roadworthy. These tyres are shot. The tail lights, I've got some wiring there. I'm going to put new tail lights on it. All the current ones are all corroded. They're not working properly. The wiring's shot. But mechanically, apart from like a couple of minor oil leaks and needing a really good clean, it's looking very good under there. I might need to do some bushes, some steering joints, just the usual stuff for something of this age. But I'm very happy with how it is. The condition, the overall condition. Yeah, it's going to be a good thing, hopefully. So now I'm going to get asked what the plan is with the back of this truck. This truck, they came out in 3 different wheelbase lengths. This is the mid-size. This is 174 inches wheelbase. They came out with 156, which is what most of the tow trucks were, and like heavy grain and sand tippers. And then they came out with 194, which is quite a bit longer wheelbase. I can move this axle backwards on this chassis. The chassis is there to do it. It's just a matter of drilling all the holes for the spring hangers, extending the tail shaft and brake lines. For reference, the F100, I think the short wheelbase F100 is 111 inches wheelbase. I'll put the metric numbers down the bottom here. because I can't work that out off the top of my head. But yeah, so the option is there to move this back. But what I'm thinking, I do like the look of the truck with the flat tray, and it's very handy, obviously. But my thing is ramp trucks. I love ramp trucks, and I built one years ago. Put a little picture up here. My F350 that I built for the coupe. I used it once for a trip to Melbourne, and it worked really well, but I never got to finish it, and I sold it, and that's been completed, and that's now running around Adelaide. But I've always wanted to build a large-scale ramp truck, and this truck I believe would be perfect for it. I've had this picture on my phone for a very long time. I'm not sure where it's from. I think it's in Victoria, this truck. But this is what I'd love to build. So I've got to do some working out with the tray length, what kind of angle I can have. This tray can come down, this bottom of this tray can come down about 140 millimeters or 5 inches, I think, something like that. I can cut the back of that chassis off so I can have the frame coming down on an angle. Yeah, lots of working out to do on that one. So I think the ramp truck is the way I'll go, but that's a long time away for now. I've got this one to do, and the priority at the moment is the coupe. That's currently getting its pipes made. Well, the pipes have been made. I've seen photos of those, and they look sweet. So I should be getting the car back soon with a new engine bay. So I think I'm going to just go full on with the coupe for a while. These guys can sit to the side. I might load this guy back up on the back of that one and just put it in the back of the shed and leave it there. But the coupe is going to be full steam ahead for the next couple of months. I need to get that back on the road. So that's the priority for now. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks to all the new subscribers and everyone else checking out the channel. The comments on the last video. There's a few guys there that are talking about the coupe from way back in the day when I started on Ford forums doing the build on that, back when we had forums. So that's pretty cool. That one should be back soon. The next few videos are just going to be on the coupe. That is the priority, so I'm going to get stuck right into that. But thanks for watching. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys checking out what I do. And hopefully I will talk to you again real soon. Cheers.